Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Christian Reeve podcast. Today's guest is a software engineer and inventor. This is a first for me. His name is Gareth Haylings. Welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Hi, Christian.
This is a real pleasure. So we've been following each other for some time, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
on TikTok, and every now and again you pop in. A few times it's been like, "Hey, I'm doing this music stuff." Other
Yeah.
times, like the other day, you're showing us these
Oh,
like really
yeah,
really
yeah.
cool inventions.
Yes,
And
yeah.
actually, it was a combination of me wanting to get you on the show and also people in my audience. Like at least three people were like, "You should get him on the show. You should
Oh,
get him on the
right.
show." So I'm
Oh,
like,
that's nice.
"Here you go, guys. Gareth's on the show." So you ask and I
All
deliver.
right. You might regret it because I have some. I'm quite an eccentric person, quite outgoing, but I'll show you whatever you want to see, as much or as
I
little as
love it,
you see.
man.
So.
I think that's part of being British, really, isn't it? The
Yeah.
eccentricity thing.
And forgive me, I'm having my morning coffee, so
No, it's all good. I'm still waking up myself.
there we are.
Right. There's different ways I could kind of begin this, but I want to kind of delve into you and computer software because I think this is
Okay.
really interesting. Like you started developing computer software at the age of 10.
That's right. Yeah. So do you want to know
Yeah.
a bit about that?
Yeah, walk us through
Okay.
that, like the different
Okay.
types of
Well,
software you developed and also like how
okay.
it's changed over the years as well.
Right. Okay. I was born in 1971, so you were going right back to my birth. I struggled in school, like a lot of kids, and in those years, you were actually taken as slow. So you put at the back of class and forgotten about. But at the age of 10, I was in primary school, and one of the teachers said, "Oh, I think he might have dyslexia or something." So my parents took me to a specialist in Bath. And the specialist said, yeah, he's got a very high IQ, which means nothing really. Very high IQ. I got one like Einstein's, about 140 my IQ is, which means nothing really. IQ
Doesn't
is
mean anything. I don't
well,
know.
no, IQ it's good, but it's everybody's intelligent. There's no dumb people.
I beg to differ with that, but okay.
Okay. Anyway, I think his name was Dr. Bramley, or he actually said to my parents, get him a computer. So they got me my computer. And my sister and myself started playing around with it just as you normally do. This was back in 1980, I think. And then I started writing little programs from computer magazines because at the time there was no internet. So that's where my journey started. And then from that, I actually started creating little programs, one called Running Back. They weren't very good, but I never published anything, but they were just little programs. And then over the years, then I started developing stuff myself. I've never published anything officially, but let's jump forward to, I think it was 2012. I got involved with MIT. So I got
Wow.
so it's an open source project. It's called App Inventor. Some people might know this. It's actually, you can develop stuff on an Android phone. So I actually joined an open source group where I started creating the programming language for black block languages. So I actually got some myself in there, which made my ego massive. So it's things where, if you know about computers, it's converting hexadecimal and different things. But I made things which was like audio, real-time audio manipulation. So you could talk into your phone, and then it would actually, it's called squishy talking. So you could actually, it doesn't actually work on the phone anymore because it's Android has changed. At the same time, I was getting into robots. So what happened back in 2000 and I think it was 2003 when my kids were born. So I got twins. I got a daughter and a son. Um, I said to my wife, "Oh, it'd be good if we got a robot." This was, I don't know whether it was for me or for them. Me, really, I think. So we had these robots and we had them for a couple of years and they were expensive. And for a toddler, it's not really the kind of thing to get. It's you get things. So we ended up with these two robots after about 2005 when them broke. So I tried to fix it. I didn't have any joy and I got involved with an open source community and they helped me repair it. But at that time, I thought, right, let's develop some software to actually control these. So I developed software to actually control these robots over the internet. They're called WowWee Should have got one. There's one in the back over there. It's a 24-inch robot. Would you like me to go and get it so you can see it, or I can carry on?
Yeah, you can carry on, but we'll probably see it a bit later if you
Yeah,
like,
okay.
or I don't know.
So it's basically a 24-inch robot. It's multimedia. I've got videos of it on my YouTube channel.
Okay, cool.
So you can actually see it and the programming I did for it. So I actually created it so you could actually control it over Skype with other people. So that was the
Wow.
first thing I did into robotics, because one of my things I'm known as is a mad robot. So that started off with robots, and also the mad bit was the inventions and the weird stuff that keeps me occupied.
I love it, man.
So
I love it.
this is how it, and then it's basically just evolved from there.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't really have education in um, computers. I'm actually a self-taught programmer, so I've learned a lot of bad habits. I have done a HND, which is stands for hard luck, no degree. So, so there you go. You get my dad jokes now, and sorry about that. So
Oh,
this is
I'm
the kind of
entering
things
that
I do.
territory as well right now. I'm not even a dad yet, but like it's
No, you
already
will.
happening.
You will see. So this is the kind of thing I'm into, making some weird stuff, and from there I've just evolved. And then now I've got my dream job. So I've been working for a company, an electronics company, for the last 30 years, and for 27 years of that, I was actually a CNC programmer. Um, and over the last 3 years, I've been writing commercial software for them. It's actually a track and trace program, which is you read barcodes and it tracks the product through. So that is basically my storyline all the way through. I've done a lot of weird rubbish and silly things.
There's a couple of things I want to explore there actually.
Yeah.
In particular, you've been with the same company nearly 30 years. Like
Yeah.
that's almost unheard of in this day and age. Like how have you made yourself like so invaluable to them? Because like
Right. Okay. Well, I've been very lucky because the job I've done, I was a very unique. I had a very unique role there. I was writing programs thing, but I developed when I first started there. I automated the job by writing software to make my job quicker. So this is how I made the job like not it, no one's indispensable, but this
sure.
is how I made myself so I wasn't vulnerable. Because every year the company tended to cut back people. We
Hmm.
started off 1,000 people, we're out to about 200, 150 people. We're still making a lot of money, but and then 3 years ago I started developing this software, and now it's the software. Hopefully, it'll be transferred throughout the world to all the other groups, which is
Amazing.
yeah, big ego.
Ah, congratulations, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I just want to explore a little bit about your dyslexia because
yeah, yeah.
I find this very interesting because obviously, as you said, and this is what I've been taught as well. I have family members who grew up in the same period and had the same struggles, and I just kind of want to understand like how you navigated that in childhood and
Okay.
throughout your adulthood.
Well, okay, that's where well, my reading level is not too good. I can read, and but I stutter and I have difficulty. If I read a sentence, I won't take it in, so I use audio. That's how I cope with that. Programming, the reason why they said get into programming and get a computer, because it helps. The way I think, my brain is wired. Dyslexic people's brains seem to be wired different. It's um, it's one of those things you just learn to adapt to it. I suppose the same as it's not a disability. I'd say it's a superpower more than anything, because and that's the way to think of anything you've got, really. So I've learned to adapt to it by coping, by using my skills in a different way. And computers have really helped, because it's like if I'll send an email out, I might do spelling mistakes in there, or if I um, write a document, it won't make sense. I'll do it. So using speech, was it text to speech, that will really help me, or getting other people to vet my emails before I send them out. That's a good thing.
What advice do you think you could give to people struggling with dyslexia? Maybe someone who's just found out they've just been diagnosed and they're kind of wondering where to start.
What I would do, my parents were very, very supportive. If you're a youngster, hopefully your parents will get you English and different things, but it's just find the things you're best at. It's technology is brilliant now. In my day when I started, it wasn't really understood. This has gone back to the 70s, really. Nowadays, there's a lot of support out there for it. It's my advice would be to just enjoy a specific hobby. Just you tend to get infatuated with something, but don't let people bully you or take the mick out of you or anything. You just have to deal with it the best you can. There's a lot of help out there nowadays for that.
Yeah, that's I mean that's the greatest
Yeah.
part about it now is like things like that, conditions like that are now taken very seriously,
Yes,
and
yes.
it always kind of blew my mind hearing about that from older people saying that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
went through that because it's like we're all wired so differently anyway,
Oh,
and
definitely. Yeah.
like it kind of just like I remember being at school and having issues with like certain subjects, and I remember like teachers just pushing you to one side and only focusing on the kids they know are going to like definitely succeed, and I just thought that doesn't make any sense to me
No,
like
no,
logically. Do you know
no.
what I mean? Like if anything you should spend more time with the people that are struggling because there's
Oh,
a
yeah,
chance they
definitely.
can still succeed, and you're a perfect example of that, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. Well, the thing is, what you'll find is humans are very lazy. They'll find the easiest way, and no criticism to teachers or anything. They're going to work with the pupils that are the easiest to teach. You will get teachers nowadays. You have teaching systems, so they
Mm-hmm.
you've got larger classes, I think, in school, but you have more help between them. In my day, there was no teaching assistant. You had a class of 30, 35, and it was one teacher. So it was very hard for them to cope. But if you have the teacher that picked up my problems, it really helps. They're the ones that support the people that are in issues. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
There's always a few good eggs in the teaching
oh yeah,
industry,
definitely,
and like
definitely,
those are the people we celebrate.
definitely.
Let's bring it back to software engineering and
Okay, yeah.
development. What would you say are the biggest lessons you've learned through software engineering and development?
Software engineer. Well, okay. My thing isn't really the end goal. Like I've been making these monitors and things and writing software. It's actually the learning experience. So what's the biggest lessons? Planning. I I think I've got other things like possibly ADHD as well, because the way I've got to keep my mind active, I get distracted. I basically I've learned if you plan and try to calm down, slow yourself down. My wife has really helped me. She's actually don't always say yes to everything. I've got a terrible
Mm,
habit of saying yes, I can do that. Gives you a bad reputation. So my probably going back to your point of what's my busiest lesson is don't say yes to everything. So I think
so
that was your
true.
question. Sorry, I got distracted then.
No, yeah, no, no, no.
Was that your question?
Pretty much, yeah. Like I can relate to this too on some
Yeah.
level. I think that like I live by Google Calendar, for example, and even
Oh,
then I have stuff on there and I'll forget and I'll be like a last minute like but like as you said, like calming yourself down
yeah, yeah,
and kind of splitting things into more achievable goals.
yeah.
And yeah, sometimes you do have to say no to things, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
okay to do that. Like it's not a big deal.
This is the kind of thing that happens in work. People, because the software I'm writing, people can actually see the advantages of it. They can see a lot of benefits of it. They're always asking for requests for new features. So whereas saying yes, I can put that in, I would have difficulty getting to it.
Mm,
I now have got a request feature. I say, yeah, I'll put up my request. And they say, how long will it take you to do? Well, I'm not sure because I'm working on this project. So I basically put up my request feature. I don't obligate to it. I don't even say sometimes, yes, I can do it, but it's there. And what I tend to do is plan my day. The first thing I do in the morning is plan out what I'm going to do that day. Hopefully, I'll get the thing, and I can cross it off. It really helps me structure my day with the things I've got. So it's really helping the things I've done, and I've learned this over the last probably year. I'm 52 now, and
whoop.
it's probably a bit late, but I mean, it's helping
Nah,
planning.
never too late to learn,
No,
my
no,
friend.
no, exactly. No. That's right.
Let's talk about invention. How did you
Oh,
get into invention? Like, obviously, you've given us a little
invent.
bit of
Oh,
a
okay, a very
beginnings,
brief.
but
Okay, right. I've always been a very inquisitive. I was very inquisitive as a child. I've always. It wasn't so much what the thing is; it's a process how to come up with things. So, um, I'm into 3D printing, hardware, software development. So I suppose the invention was the software first. How could I make something move on a screen? I wasn't interested in the end goal. I'd actually want to see how I could actually do it. So it's a learning curve. So this is how I get into it. I've got a couple of things I can show you if you want to see them.
you
That
know what? Let's see them, man. Let's see the
you want to see them.
inventions.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
I just come up with some weird stuff. All right.
I'm gonna have to try and
There,
explain this for my audio viewers now as
okay. So
well.
I will show you, right? Lockdown was a hard time for everybody, right?
You're right, yeah.
But when you decide to make a robotic coconut,
That's right.
I've actually got it here, right? This is a robotic. When I say it was
Oh my
going to be
god.
this is called Wilson. This is right. I'm thinking
Oh, it's amazing.
Wilson.
It's half a coconut with like a almost like what looks like a beak
Yeah,
sort of
all
thing.
right. So Wilson has got a special feature, right? So I'm going to show you the secret behind this.
Okay.
I've got a microphone here and just some electronics. So when I press the button, I'm going to just turn the light. You probably won't be able to see it too well. So let me see if I can turn.
For my audio listeners, make sure you check out the video of
Right. So you'll
this on
see
YouTube.
a lot of the stuff you see won't be actually published at all, but I think you might see Wilson on some of my things. So
Excellent.
basically, when I speak, hopefully, yeah, you can see
Oh
him.
yeah, it lights up.
So there we
Yeah.
are. So I can get him to talk. So I used to do, when you do your first TikToks, they're really rubbish. Well, here we are. This is the thing. So
Mine is still rubbish.
so basically, all this is here. This was a boredom thing. This was just in, can I make a light light up with a speaker? So all there's some electronics in here and
Like a little
a
electronics
microphone. So
box
when
with
I
a
speak to it, it's gonna, and I press the button. Oh, just a minute. Is it going to go now? I've probably just broken it. Hello, hello. I think I've just broken. So there we are. That shows how good my inventions are. So I got loads of things like
Do you
this.
know I heard a story the other day. I don't know if this is true, but like when Steve Jobs was doing the initial keynote for
Yeah.
the first iPhone, apparently they'd not actually properly like got the phone fixed and optimized and stuff. So he
That's
had to,
exactly.
yeah, apparently he had to have like a massive, I guess like a phone tower or something nearby, and he
Okay.
had to like have several phones already at his disposal, and he had to switch them seamlessly whilst also doing the speech
Yeah, I've done that.
in order
I've
to
done that.
not reveal that like they hadn't quite ironed everything out
Okay.
yet.
Well, yeah, I know exactly that feeling. I tend to do things. A good example of that, right, is there is a video. I've done a video. I made a 3D printed guitar, so I've actually got that hanging up on the wall.
Amazing.
Um, so I've
Once again, guys, make sure you check this out on
and
YouTube.
the last one.
Got to see these
So
inventions.
this was the first evolution of the guitar here, right? So this
Oh
is
my god.
this was back in 2015, all 3D printed. Okay,
Wow.
what
It's like
problem?
those small kind of guitars you sometimes see like virtuosos use where they're just trying to trim it all back and just have like the
Yeah,
bare
basically,
bones.
but this is designed from scratch. When I started, this was in 2015. I designed this. It's
Looks like a
I
sword.
never played a guitar, so this is a unique guitar. This one is a bit crap. It doesn't work. It's basically, I'll
A
show
nice
you the proper
bass.
one. So this is a proper one. It doesn't really work anymore, but it's a proper electric acoustic guitar, right?
Amazing. Look at that.
Behind here, I've put the tuning pegs.
Oh wow, and they're on the back of the guitar. I've
Yeah,
never seen that
but
before.
also this guitar comes apart. This is why I'm called a mad scientist, mad robot.
So
So
he's literally winding it up like it's a
no, I
one of
can
those
take things
Jack in the
off. So
Box toys.
I can basically I can put a phone in there. I've got I can change the headstock on
But
here.
you can put a phone in there. What does that do
Right.
exactly?
What I've got in here, I've got a thing called, I don't know whether you've heard of an iRig.
Yes, yes, I've heard of
Right,
it.
an iRig. I used to put my, there's actually things on my YouTube. You can actually, I've got a video if you want to See, I don't want to
And
boost
where
it.
can people find you on YouTube? What's the name of the YouTube
I
account?
think it's
I'll include the link in the
yeah, it's either
description.
Mad
But
Robot or Gareth Haylings. But
okay,
basically, your phone goes into here, and then it goes into this harness here. So this
it's like a
winds
phone
out.
holder attached to the bottom
Yeah,
of it.
phone
Yeah.
holder, which you can see it's a bit broken now. Phone goes onto there. So this will actually play. It's a bit out of tune now, but it
Okay.
will play. You can also I can put different fretboards on here. So and this lights up as well. So on my YouTube channel, you
Wow.
can actually see this. It's got smoke effects and things. So
That's
these come
mad.
off.
You just popped it out. He managed to just pop out the fretboards, and I
Yeah,
guess you
and
could
I'll
just
get
pop
another
in
one
new
now.
ones. That's
I'll
I've
get
never
another
seen this
one.
before.
I should have put them down there.
Mate, if I ever get the money, I'm getting you to design my next guitar. Oh yeah.
I wanna redo this guitar, but it's so many things. So I've got one here, and all you do, you just put them in.
Does it click in? Is there like how
No,
does that work?
they don't actually click in. They're magnetic.
Wow.
So
Okay.
all I've done is you neodymium magnets. There's neodymium. They're Earth magnets, very strong magnets. Which
Wow.
there we are. And then you've got so these are all 3D printed as well with fret wire in there.
Yeah.
So these ones are flat one, so you could actually use it. With a what's the south? A bottle top. Bottle.
Right.
You know,
Oh yeah. The
yeah.
slider
And I
thing.
got
Yeah.
one which is transparent. So with this one, you can put this on, and if the lights were working on it, because there's LEDs underneath here, it actually shines through. So on my YouTube video, that will actually you can see that, and there's smoke coming out of it, and I've got a fishbone thing. So that was first. That was one of the first things I ever designed on a 3D printer, which is,
Incredible.
and I'd never played the guitar before on that, and I can also I can put different headstocks on here. Oh, the other thing, because you're a guitarist,
Yes.
action height. Different people like different action heights of the thing. Well, if people don't know what action height, it's the distance between the strings and the fretboard. So if you were, let me just put it back on. If you wanted, let me get the right one on that. A second. That one and that one. I need to take the other fretboard off. Sorry. Right. So what you can do on this, there's some bolts under here, and I've got I think this would be the bridge in this case because it's the opposite way around. The bridge here, you can actually raise that up with these bolts underneath. So it's just an Allen key, so you can actually change the height of the strings away from the fretboard.
Wow. Okay.
But this took a couple of designs to do, and it was a long print as well. But underneath here, I've got all the tuning pegs in here. So it's actually underneath there, and there's an amp and everything. So that's how I start. I don't know what your question was.
Well, since we got you like showing us your inventions, I might as well walk through a few of them. So
Okay.
you mentioned that there was a secret one that you wanted to show me. Something you wanted to show me.
Okay, yeah,
I'm intrigued.
You're like, I showed you this on TikTok the other day when you asked me to do a podcast with you. So
yes.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, this monitor here, if I was on my computer, it would be easy for me to show you and turn it down. I'm going to try and do this now. I'm just going to turn this, do this. So this monitor behind here, it's a normal monitor, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But you can't see anything through it. What a monitor has on it is a polarizing lens. All I've done is taken the polarizing lens off it. So now you can actually see the monitor.
Yeah, so before, I'll explain this to my audio viewers. So before, it was just a white screen, and then he puts this like sheet of,
yeah,
I don't even know what to call it. It's a bit like, for anyone that's old enough to remember the overhead projectors, it's a bit like that sheet that you put over.
Yeah, or the glasses. If I've got the glasses
and
here,
then you can see the picture on the screen afterwards.
So I've made a piece of they're actually 3D glasses. And you
oh, wow.
See so as I said to you the other day, I've got an idea for doing this in work because I'm a programmer. I do training courses.
Yeah.
I've got a training course next week and I'm going to use it in there and I can show you what I've evolved it. This is the thing I wanted to show you. So from this, if I just get the mouse over here, it is a working monitor. If I can, I've got to find my mouse now. Hang on a second. Oh, here we are. We're by there. So just showing you.
Yeah. So like in theory, you could have like a bunch of these monitors like in a workplace
Yeah.
and then just have people walking around with like glasses. And
Yeah.
then so
Yes.
it'd be great for like security
Well,
purposes because
that's
anyone that doesn't have
exactly.
them can't see anything.
No, this is exactly the. I'm doing it as a sell. We've got 50 of these monitors, and they were just going to scrap them off. They're too small for anything.
Mm.
So I'll show you what my not what my secret idea is. Give me 2 seconds, and I just lost your picture a second. Let me just get it back.
Where have we gone?
Hang on a second. Where are you? Where are you? Hang on, hang on. I've got to find you now. I'm just going to wipe you off.
This is exactly how I thought it would
There
be.
we are. You're back now. I'm gonna have to move my program onto the other screen. I'm gonna have to turn you around, so I'm not gonna be able to. Oh, I can see you. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can. You probably have to do a lot of editing on this now.
Nah, I avoid editing like the plague if I can avoid it. If it's
Okay.
if
Right.
it depends.
Okay. You're gonna see a lovely. I'll tell you what. Let me see if I
There's
can.
a electronic tracking system says on
Right.
the
So this
screen.
is the software working on from anybody who's got the filter. So if I use this, and all I've done behind the display, I'll show you how a monitor is made up in a minute, and you will understand how this works maybe. Right, so from anybody else's point of view, they won't be able to see that image behind there. All they will see are that. So you could have this is just basically something like that behind the LCD display. Okay, so from my point of view now, I'm going to show you if I can get it on there. I'm just going to run this program. I'm going to try and get it. So where has it gone? It's just running now. So, all right, let's do it that way. So hopefully, can you see that monitor as well?
I can, yes.
Right, because I can't see you now. So
A lady with a crystal ball.
yeah, so if I type in a number, right, I'll type in a number or some phrase. You can see on this monitor, I'm typing the same thing.
Oh, mad. Okay, yeah.
So if I've got this monitor at the front of the room, so everybody can see it, all they can see is the word ETS, right? So my thing here now is the person at the back room, I got someone else helping me. He's going to predict what has actually been typed in there, which in this case is Y. No one else will be able to see that image.
This would be useful for like trying to send someone a message code style, but without alerting or having anyone know.
That's exactly that. These are the things. So you can see when he types in the correct answer on there, it actually shows it's done. And Mystic Meg has actually shown it. So the whole purpose of this is actually, it's got the fun side of it, but I'm trying to recycle unused things that are just going to be scrapped. So rather than chucking it away, I'm actually repurposing it. Do you want me to show you how a monitor is actually, how I've done this as well? I've got a
sure thing. Yeah, let's see it. Wow. Okay.
So a monitor, inside a monitor, you have this screen, which is your LCD. Okay.
You can see my face. There you
go. Which is that? There you are. So you have that, and behind it, there's a backlight, which is what you're seeing when the monitor's on. So if I switch monitors over again, and I'll probably lose you. Let's see. Hopefully it's going to come on. There we are. No. Oh, good. You're back. So what you're seeing is that backlight there.
Yes.
Right. And all I've done on the front of the monitor, you have a polarizing lens. So it actually, which is that. And all I've done, very simple. I'm not the person who's invented this. All I've done is taken the idea off the internet. Someone's done it. And then when you do that, you can actually see the image. So you've made a security monitor, a privacy monitor, they're called. The thing I'm doing though is actually I'm putting an image behind the LCD. So that's where I've evolved this idea, and I've got a lot of evolutions to this. So that's it. So I got some
incredible, man. Thank you so much.
I'm hoping that prank will work in work next week. There we are.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you about actually is your nose flute invention.
You want to see that? I printed
I'd
one.
love to see it. Yeah. When you told me about this, I was
It's what I'm going to
intrigued.
say. This, I thought I had actually invented. Did you watch some of the? Let me turn the light back on. Yeah, I can
I didn't
make
get
out.
the chance to see the video, unfortunately, but yeah, I just was blown
Right.
away by
Okay.
this
There's a lot of
concept.
TikTok. Last year, I took this. I took about 40 of these to the Edinburgh Fringe last year, and I handed them out. And I gave some to some comedy acts. I'll give you a demonstration what it sounds like. And I got them to use them on stage with them. So there are TikToks of that.
Amazing.
So have you heard of The Play Goes Wrong?
I haven't, no.
All right, it's a BBC thing, and
Okay.
one they called the Mischievous Theatre. Definitely worth watching them.
Oh, I think, yeah, no, I have actually. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a play, as you say, a play that like everything just
so
goes terribly and it's really funny.
there was an act there. One of the cast on there did her own thing. So I took this with me and I gave it to her. It was a really good show, and she ended up playing it on the stage. So there's YouTube. So this is what it is. If you've ever heard of the clangers, this is what they sound like. So it's basically a whistle. You stick up
Yeah.
your nose, and then you're actually using your tongue to make the noise. So in my TikTok, I showed the demonstration. I say you breathe through your nose, but don't
Yeah.
breathe out your mouth. But you've got to breathe. So and then when you do that, and you pushing no air through your nose and pushing your tongue, it's acting like a trombone. So even though I thought I designed this as a unique design, I thought I had created something brand new, but it was already been created in the past. So no invention, I'd say, are unique. They're just evolutions. A lot of my stuff are evolutions of other people's inventions. I do a lot of musical inventions as well.
How long do you think it takes on average for you to invent something? Like, what's your
Right,
process like?
I have I to get to the final stage. The worst thing with me, I'll get 95% through something and I'll get bored. um, I'm trying to cope with that. Majority of the time, I can have a concept in my head, and then my development process is like a wiggly line, and I'll do trees. So this was about 10 minutes.
Oh,
That was about
wow.
10 minutes. I've got other things.
Nose flute was 10 minutes.
Wilson, the robotic coconut. That was just me being bored. This is not a unique thing. This is called a single tune harp. So this is something you can download off and print out yourself. But it has
Wow.
a design flaw. It actually bends. So
Uh,
I evolved it into an electric. So I've just basically put a guitar string on there. And then I put truss rods through here. So inside here, and I put electric on there as well. So I've evolved that. This took me probably about 3-4 hours to develop, and it's just an
Jeez.
improvement on the original. So your question. Let me go back to the question. I just diverted a lot. The how long does it take to go from something like this to like this? About 3 hours, an hour for me. Not very long. It's you do have modifications and different things. Like if I show you, I've got a robot here called Colin. He goes in my
R2D2.
TikToks. Yeah. Oh, you don't call him that. That was his brother. He got the part role. So he's
I
Colin. I made him a TARDIS, so I got a TARDIS. So
love this.
you like. I know you like Doctor Who, don't you?
Oh, I
So
love all nerd things, man. I'm a
right,
diehard
I get my
nerd.
TARDIS I designed for him. No.
This is amazing.
So I didn't plan to show you any of these things, but
I love this. Oh my
this is
gosh. Look
this
at
is the
that.
TARDIS, right? And the lid comes off.
Oh,
It's
mad.
actually got. I was gonna evolve this, but it's got loads of different things in it. The doors open, and Colin can sit in it as well. We weren't, and there's a light box behind it, which I was going to do. Colin will actually go in that, and then there was I was going to put this turned upside down with lights in it. I never got around to it, but that took me probably about 2 days to design, and then a long time to print out. But I don't. Did you ask me?
Just like the average time, I suppose. But yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
like like it's very quick, which is just
yeah.
incredible.
I I'd say probably 95% of the things I do, check that on the drawer. So I don't actually get to do them. They're just ideas. And I tend to use TikTok as a video log for myself. And
Mm.
I'm not doing it for the views. I'm doing it so I can remember that I did this. Pantos I've created, plays and things, because I've written a lot of pantos and things.
Wow. Okay.
Different things. They've only been performed once or something.
That's incredible, though. I didn't know that you did that. Like, could you tell us a little bit about that?
I used to belong to a dad's group, and I wrote comedy plays. I made a 3D. I made a 23-foot dragon with working wings and a mouth. I was inside it.
That's incredible.
Weighed a ton, but that was another. All these things are on YouTube. Those kind of things, so you'll see that.
I'll definitely make sure to include a link to that so our viewers and listeners can see that stuff, man. And I'll say to all of my audio listeners, please go out of your way to watch the video version of this episode so that you can see all these inventions. I'll bring it back to audio only now.
I also come up with processes and things. So nowadays you can get 3D printers that'll do color, but before that happened, This is going back probably to the start of last year. I started making color 3D prints. So these, you shouldn't really be able to see through a print like that. That is, you can't really see through it. But I came up with a process to make a print fully colored.
It's really cool. It's that stained glass kind of effect.
Exactly. So if I could turn the monitor around, I would actually show you something else. It's the Star Trek Enterprise. There is a TikTok of that. And doing things like this, processes, they interest me, like filling 3D prints.
What would you say is the best thing you've ever invented?
The best thing I've ever invented, I'm just thinking, probably the guitar, I would say. I did make a quadcopter. Oh, actually, there's a folding plane. Someone actually challenged me to make a paper plane, but a 3D printed, so a plastic paper plane. I think you might have seen the video of that, have you?
I was just thinking, like, there's a content idea for you right there. Just taking suggestions, like just telling people, like, hey, what do you want to see me invent? Like, people will go nuts with that.
Yeah.
For real. And it'd be a real challenge for yourself. Like,
I tend to, that's why I try not to get too distracted when I'm working on projects. So it's like, I just think, oh, here we are. And I don't do it to impress anybody. I like seeing what I do. I do it for myself. So I'm happy to take suggestions, and if I like them, I will make them. It's like at the moment I've got an idea. This is called ferrule fluid. I don't know whether you've ever heard of ferrule fluid.
No, what's that?
Right. Ferrule fluid is a magnetic fluid.
Okay. All right.
It's actually just it's like an oil with magnets, with iron in it. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you put a magnet. So what my idea to do with this is actually to turn it into a clock.
Okay.
So it'll be a ferrule fluid clock. So that's just an interest. Whether I do that is another thing.
Okay. The flip side of the question, what's the worst thing you've ever invented?
What? Right. Okay. I used to get involved with STEM. STEM works, which is science, technology, English and maths at work. We get a pile of kids in. And one of the inventions, I haven't got it here, was, a Jew's harp? When a ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
Well, I made one of them out of plastic, right? And I didn't even test this properly. I tested it a little bit, but I printed about 40 of these. I did them over 2 days without testing them. I took them to the STEM work thing and I gave them to the kids and I got them to use it, and instantly they just broke. That's
how did the kids react to that?
Now got a bookmark.
They were like devastated.
So that's probably one of the worst things I've made. I probably would think of other things, but a lot of the things, they're not useful for anybody. Just they're more keep my mind occupied.
Thank you so much for sharing, man. I really, really appreciate it. I'll say to all my all my listeners, make sure you go check out the clips and the video version of this episode. You're not going to want to miss all of those because it's just incredible looking at all of these. It fascinates me. Just, I think the thing that fascinates me the most is like how your mind works, like the ability to like visualize that and
Yeah,
then create it, and it's just incredible.
I just get if I can think I would say there's nothing impossible if you put your mind to it. You can make anything. If you wanted to make a time machine, there's no reason why it can't be done. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I'm sure someone one day will actually make a time machine or something that it simulates a time machine. Something
Yeah, I
like
read it. I read a study a few years back that suggested that they're already
yeah.
testing time
I would
machines right now. But like, okay, so to what they've done is something like they were able to move an object through time, like we're talking like a minute or something, but
yeah,
it was like manipulating the space around the object
that's right.
and pushing it into the
Yeah. Well,
forward.
the other thing, if you were to travel to the sun and back,
Mm-hmm.
you would be, I think, I can't remember, you're actually, the people in Earth are going to be older than you, only by like a fraction of a second or something. But that's where maybe possible time travel will be. You travel faster than the speed of light. And so these are the other kind of interests. It's not to say I know anything about these, but they interest me.
Yeah, me
These
too.
kind of things, yeah. So I love finding out about these things.
I want to change it up a little bit
Yeah, yeah,
and get your thoughts because obviously you're a software engineer.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
obviously involved with computers. What do you think are the benefits and drawbacks of AI? Because obviously that's a
Of
big
AI,
topic
right?
right now.
Okay, I think we do need to be careful. I think the benefits of it is going to make our lives a lot easier. You just think you go back to the when the wheel was invented and the cars were invented, they have a red flag. We're going back to that now with a 20-mile-an-hour limit in Wales. But people were scared of the car, the wheel, evolution. This is exactly the same as AI. People are scared of it because they don't know what it's going to do. We do need to be careful, I think. Um, I've used it if I'm writing emails. My emails might not come out diplomatic. I use Bard. So it's actually Google's free chat GDP, and I put my email in. It is I want to send. It will actually reword it in a lot better way and maybe concise. It doesn't always do the best job. That is where the advantage of it. The disadvantages of it is at the moment. I think they're working on it. Is it Chat GTP 6? I think they
Wow, we're already up to six. Crikey.
yeah. So and it is exponential. It can actually I think it can work out things a lot better than humans, and they're starting to make the bodies of them. So this is going to be in the next evolution of the AI. So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see humanoid robots walking around like AI. I don't think we'll ever get to the form of Skynet, like Terminator. I'm not saying it's not possible, but I just think it's if we're careful and we use it with respect, I don't think we'll be in trouble. But there are.
I mean, I suppose the biggest concern right now, and I've seen it in certain instances, is it's replacing jobs. I mean, like for instance, translation jobs gone. Computer programmer jobs, that's going to shift now to like
Oh,
prompt
definitely.
engineers rather than coders,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
they the job market will actually change. I've been to factories where they're lights out factories, so and it's like the software I'm developing. People are scared of it because they're thinking it's
Mm.
going to get rid of their jobs. No, it will make their jobs more efficient, and they'll be able to be utilized for better purposes. So this is the same as AI. It's not going to necessarily. It might make some jobs redundant, but you can use that person for a better person
Well, that's the
purpose.
key element,
Yeah.
isn't it, to this? It's one thing to replace a job and offer something as an alternative, right?
Yes.
But to just make those jobs redundant and then leave people with nothing,
No,
do
you
you know,
don't.
because we all have different skill sets. Like, for example, there are many people in this world that, use their hands to create, works of art, machines, etc. And like now their jobs our friend, because
Yeah.
you can make the argument, or why would you get a human to do it when you can get an AI machine to do it? It'll do it more
Well,
efficiently. Like,
I'm sure I might be talking rubbish here, but I'm sure last year was it an AI piece of art won a Turner Prize or something like that.
Jesus.
So this is where things like they have actually got software now which can create com, which can create complete scripts and complete films.
Right.
So I think you'll see AI generated films. So yeah, you'll get evolution, but you will have people actually designing those. So the script writers may move from actually doing the whole of the script writing um, to the actually the ideas of the script, and then the AI actually takes over the. So you might give it your own script, and then it evolves it and makes it better. So it's actually a human and an AI are working together, and the same with the film industry.
It's terrifying for me because I'm trying to get into it with acting, and all I keep hearing about is how it's going to replace everything, and I'm just like, well, great. What am I going to do?
You look at the CGI. Most films now, it doesn't matter what it is, they have CGI in them,
Yes.
and it's like Avatar is a good example. I loved the first film, but I didn't like the second one. But the effects, they wouldn't be able to make that film without CGI.
Sure.
Most films nowadays, doesn't matter what they are, they've got CGI in them, and that is so you're going to have AI characters in there, really. So I think it is going to be a big evolution. Media like TV is dying,
Mm.
I think, and it's going more to streaming services. And I think people are more selecting what they want to watch rather than being forced on them.
I mean, that's a good element, I think, certainly. But my concern is always just like this idea of being replaced, humans being replaced.
And I think it will give us more time to do what we want, like passions. Like me, I'm probably one of the luckiest people in the world. My job and my hobby are the same thing. So I'm getting paid for something. So if more people can do this kind of thing with AI helping them, they can, like, say you're an actor or a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Say you've composed a song or you've done your thing, and you think, oh, that's good, but a lot of people don't like the song. I'm not saying that that's going to be the case, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you might put it through an AI engine, and it evolves it, and you think, oh wow, I didn't think of that. It might put a good riff to it or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So where you are not being replaced, you are being aided by by AI.
Here's the thing with that, like, and I said this I did a Twitch stream on this recently, like AI and how it will impact society. I've done a few shows. Shout out to the AI Sentinel podcast
Yeah,
that I appeared on. Um, I'm all for like things like AI art and like it existing in its own format, its own thing. I
yeah,
think it has a place and it's interesting and stuff. But like the example you gave of it aiding things, like I think you have to be very careful with that. It's one thing like to run, an email through and like improve it a little bit here and there. But
yeah,
like if we're talking like creating songs, creating artworks, I mean, what the ideal in my head would be that there's a distinctive split between human created things and AI created things, and each are considered with the same level of merit and
yeah.
interest.
No, exactly.
My concern is that human stuff will die and
Yeah.
everyone will just be obsessed with the AI
That is,
generated stuff.
yeah, that could be the one downside, because the thing is, as AI is getting better and better, it's I wouldn't say becoming conscious, but it's actually aware of how we. Well, yeah, I suppose that's coming conscious. It's actually is able to emulate or simulate what
Mm-hmm.
we actually do. So it takes, like, into AI, you can say, right, write me a script in the style of Tim Burton, but as Shakespeare or something. I'm not
Yeah,
a Shakespeare fan, but um, you could actually get that merge of two things. So it now, I suppose, yeah, you're getting a thing where a human might not be able to do that kind of thing, whereas AI can actually merge all those things together. And then you put it through another AI engine, and then it makes a video of it, art or something of it. So yeah, it does. It could be
terrifying.
a little bit, yeah, it could be terrifying, but I think new technology is just to be cautious of, but it's not to be feared because we adapt. We've done this through the generations, through history. People feared computers back in the 70s because they thought they're going to be replacing their jobs. Industrial revolution. People hated the spinning jenny, which is a weaving machine.
I suppose, though, the key difference, because I agree with what you're saying, but I think the key difference is that we were always at least at the helm of those things. We were
Yeah.
always in control. Now we're not in control anymore.
Well, we are sort of, but it's the people where it's not us, it's the people who are actually designing them. But then again,
True.
AI is getting a bit better and better. So it might take that. They did do, I think, was it Facebook or one of them? They actually, or Google, they had two AI engines talking together
Mm.
and they had to turn them off because they were speaking their own language. And it was actually, so it was actually starting to get a bit frightened. So they turned them off because they were, so
That's
you can imagine
terrifying.
where that starts to get a bit thing. So this is where I think we've got to be careful in certain aspects. So it's like, that's it.
Couple of final questions for you that I always ask every single guest. I'm interested to get your particular answers. What's the biggest mistake you've made that you learned a valuable life lesson from?
A biggest mistake. I haven't learned. I don't think I've learned any lessons for any mistake. I think the biggest lessons I've learned is actually to listen. People don't try not to. I've got a terrible habit of interrupt. I don't know whether I've done this on this interview, but I've got a terrible habit of trying to predict what people have said, but be interested in what someone else is saying. Planning my day. I think they're my biggest lessons. My mistake were before a couple of years ago. I was actually more like a 2-year-old, absorbed around there, just constantly, I suppose, trying to make my own ego bigger. But I've learned, no, don't do that. Your ideas aren't the best ideas. Listen to other people. Listen to what they've got to say without interrupting. And I think that's the best. That is the biggest mistake I did, not listening to other people.
Okay. You kind of given us some life lessons there, but I want to kind of ask, because I always ask this question, for you throughout the years, for everything that you've been through, what's the biggest life lesson you've learned so far?
The biggest life lesson, it's be treated as you want to be treated yourself, or treat people as you want to treat yourself. That is the biggest lesson. I've always treated people with respect. And I hate it when you get bullies and things. I just don't like that. That's probably one of the big life lessons. It's something I've never done, but it is a life lesson. I think this came from a young age when I was bullied in school because of being not the best academically, and being taken a mick out of. So I thought, well, no, I don't want to be treated like that. So treat everybody with respect.
Could not agree more. What's the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice from my wife, probably.
Okay.
So it's actually listen to people, take a pause, just don't interrupt, or just try to calm down. Keep on one project at a time. Maybe that's the best life lessons.
Final question for you. Do you have any upcoming projects or final thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Right, I'm going to be evolving my monitor. This is my. I have so many ideas.
I believe it.
Ideas, things for work. I try to stay focused on the stuff I do at work because if I don't, but this is probably the biggest project I'm going to be doing at the moment, which is this, which is not just the screen like here, but it's a multi-layered screen. I actually created a 3D monitor before, well, just after they became a thing, and it was actually that's a thing on my YouTube channel. So I might evolve that. Let's just see what happens. I'll be posting videos anyway. So I think the clock idea with a ferrule fluid is another one, but I have too many ideas to stick to one. I think the monitor will be the next big project.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you so much
thanks,
for appearing, man. And
enjoyed it.
yeah, you're always welcome back, man. And I can't wait to see what else you invent as the
Yeah,
time comes.
there'll be lots of things. So there's going to be more coming over the future.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
To all the listeners of the Christian Reeve podcast, I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for listening. Please consider dropping us a review on Podchaser, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listened to the podcast. There's a little figure in the background there.
Mini.
Yeah, it really helps out the show. So please leave us a review if you dug it. Also, make sure to join the Discord, join the community, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Christian Reeve. Make sure to check out Gareth and his works. I'll include the links in the description. And yeah, be safe, be well, and I'll see you in the next one.